Here we will see creating, modifying and deleting clustered index in SQL Server. Before looking on clustered index, first we'll create an employee table with fields employee ID, passport number and date, and we'll insert records in this table randomly. That is, first we'll insert employee ID as 3, then 5, then 2 and so on. And when we execute select star from employee details, it will display the records as we have inserted. Then we'll see creating clustered index using transact.sql. General syntax for creating clustered index is create index, index name on table name and column name with order ascending or descending, where index name specifies the name that you want to give to the index being created, table name specifies the table name on which you are going to create index, column name specifies the columns that will be indexed in the order specified, and ascending or descending specifies the order in which the data should be sorted. The default sorting order is ascending. Now I'll create clustered index on employee detail tables. So we'll use command create clustered index. We will give name of the index as emp details underscore emp id on dbo employee details and field is employee id. To check the clustered index created, open the SQL Server Management Studio and under indexes you will see the index employee details underscore employee id and clustered. And when we give select star from employee details, it will display the record in ascending order of employee id. Even though we have inserted data randomly, when we use clustered index, it will sort the data according to employee id. We can create clustered index on 2 columns with different sorting orders. For example, create clustered index employee details employee id on table name, that is employee details, with fields employee id ascending and passport number descending. We can create a clustered index using SQL Server Management Studio also. For this, open the SQL Server Management Studio, then connect to the database, and in Object Explorer expand the table where you want to create a clustered index. Then right click on the indexes folder, point to new index and select clustered index as shown below. Then in new dialog box on the general page, enter the name of the index under the index name and click on add button under the indexing column. Then in select columns from table name dialog box, select the checkbox of the column to be added to the clustered index. Here I have selected employee ID and then click on OK and save the table. We can create a clustered index using table designer also. For this, open the Object Explorer window, right click on the table where you want to create a clustered index and click design. Then on the table designer menu, click on indexes or keys. In the indexes or key dialog box, click on add button and for the new index created, select yes from the drop down list for create as a clustered index. Next we'll see modify an index. To add, remove or change the position of an index column, you must drop and recreate the index. However, you can set several options on the index using alter index statement. For example, alter index employee details employee ID on employee details, set ignore duplicate key equal to on. We can modify the index using SQL Server Management Studio. For this, open SQL Server Management Studio. In Object Explorer, expand the table where you want to modify the index and expand the indexes folder. Right click on index that you want to modify and click on properties. In the index properties dialog box under general tab, make the desired changes like adding removing columns from the index key or change the setting of an index option. We can delete the indexes using the drop index statement. General syntax is drop index name on table name. For example, drop index employee details underscore employee ID on employee details. This command will delete the clustered index employee details employee ID on employee details table. We can delete the indexes using SQL Server Management Studio also. For this, first open SQL Server Management Studio. In Object Explorer, expand the table, then expand the indexes folder and right click on the index to be deleted and select delete in the context menu. We can delete the indexes using table designer also. For this, open the Object Explorer in SQL Server Management Studio. Right click on the table on which you want to delete the index and in table designer menu, click on indexes or keys option. And in the indexes keys dialog box, select the index that you want to delete and click on delete button. Now we'll see creating clustered index in SQL Server. First we'll use the database project 1 under which we are going to create a table. First we'll create a table employee details with fields employee ID, passport number and expiry date. It will create an employee detail table. Then we'll add records in this employee details and we'll use select statement to check the records. So select star from employee details. It will display the records as we have inserted, that is employee ID with 35281467. That is, it will display records in unsorted order. Now I'll create clustered index on this table. So we'll create clustered index on employee details employee ID, which is the name of the clustered index, on table name employee details, and we'll execute this. It will create a clustered index. To check it, we'll open table employee details and under indexes it will show employee details employee ID clustered index. Now again we will see select star from employee detail. It will display the data in sorted order on employee ID. Now we'll drop the table and we'll create again the employee detail table and we'll add clustered index using SQL Server Management Studio. For this, right click on the table, select indexes, then select new index and clustered index. Now I will name the index name as employee details EMPID and I will click on add and I will select the field employee ID and click on OK, and again I will click on OK. It will create a clustered index employee details employee ID under indexes for the table employee detail. Now again I will delete this table and I will create the table again, and now we will see creating clustered index using table designer. So open the table in design mode, right click on employee ID, select indexes and keys, click on add. Under identity, name the index as employee details EMPID, create as clustered as yes and click on close. Save the table and click on indexes. It will create an index employee details employee ID as clustered. Now we'll modify this clustered index using SQL Server Management Studio. So right click on the index name and select properties, and under general tab we will add another column as passport number and we'll click on OK. It will recreate the index. When we refresh it, here two index columns are added for the indexing. Now we'll see dropping the index. So we'll use drop command. So drop index employee details employee ID on dbo.employee details, and when we execute this it will say command completed successfully, and if we refresh it, here index is dropped. Now we'll see dropping the index using SQL Server Management Studio. So right click on the index name and click on delete, and if we click OK, it will drop the index for the table employee details. Now we'll drop this index using table designer. So open the table in design mode, select the field and right click on indexes and keys, select the index name and click on delete, and when we save this table and we'll refresh it, the index is dropped.